Okay, let's jump right in. We're about to explore a place that, well, it's not just a state. It's more like a world unto itself. A region so huge and so important that its story is in so many ways the story of India itself. Yep, we're talking about Uttar Pradesh.
Just look at this number, 241 million. I mean, really let that sink in for a second. That's not the population of some huge, sprawling country. Nope, that's the population of just one Indian state.
And to really put that into perspective, check this out. If Uttar Pradesh were its own country, it would be the 5th most populous on the entire planet. We're talking bigger than Pakistan, bigger than Brazil. And you know what? This unbelievable scale, it's the key. It's the key to understanding everything else we're about to cover.
So that brings us perfectly to our first section here, this whole idea of a nation within a nation. Because seriously, when we talk about Uttar Pradesh, or UP as pretty much everyone calls it, we are talking about an absolute demographic giant.
I mean, just think about this for a second. 1 in every 6 Indians calls UP home. And get this, roughly 1 out of every 33 people on the entire planet lives right here in this one state. So you see, this isn't just some piece of India. It's a massive, absolutely critical part of the country, and really, the world.
And this massive population, it's also incredibly diverse. So while it's predominantly Hindu, Uttar Pradesh is also home to the single largest Muslim population of any state in India. And it's this unique blend that has shaped its history, its culture, for centuries.
So you might be wondering, how did this one region become so incredibly central to everything? Well, the answer is buried deep in its history, a history that's as layered and complex as pretty much anywhere on Earth. We're talking about a land where empires rose and fell, and where divinity itself is said to have walked.
This timeline, it just lays it all out so clearly. For more than 2,000 years, there was one simple rule. If you wanted to rule India, you had to control this fertile land, the Gangetic Plain. From the Mauryans and the Guptas all the way to the Mughals and the British, whoever held this heartland held the entire subcontinent. It was the center of everything. Power, wealth, you name it.
But running right alongside all that imperial history is this incredibly deep spiritual story. This is literally the landscape of foundational Hindu epics. It's the backdrop for the stories of Rama and Krishna. It's home to Varanasi, one of the holiest cities in Hinduism, and Sarnath, the exact spot where the Buddha gave his very first sermon. This place is just steeped in faith.
So you take that massive population, you add in all that historical weight, and what do you get? Well, you get our next point, UP's role as India's absolute political powerhouse. There's a saying in modern India that the road to becoming prime minister runs straight through Uttar Pradesh.
And this table right here shows you exactly why that saying exists. Look at those numbers. 80 seats in the Lok Sabha, that's the powerful lower house, and 31 in the upper house. That's more than any other state. So what's the big takeaway? It's simple. You just can't form a national government without winning big here. The voters in UP can literally make or break a politician's career.
And if you need any more proof, here it is. 9. Just the number 9. That is how many of India's prime ministers have come from Uttar Pradesh. That includes the very first one, Jawaharlal Nehru. No other state is even in the same league. Seriously, that one number tells you everything you need to know about UP's political dominance.
Okay, but this is where the story starts to get a lot more complicated. Because for all of its political muscle and its incredible history, Uttar Pradesh is also a place of really deep contrasts and, frankly, some major challenges. And this brings us to what you could call the great UP paradox.
And this right here lays that paradox out perfectly. On the one hand, you've got the 3rd largest state economy in all of India. It's an agricultural giant, it's got a booming service sector. But, on the other hand, it ranks way down at 28th when it comes to how much money an average person makes. A staggering 59 million people live below the poverty line. So you have this huge economic engine that for some reason isn't translating into prosperity for so many of its people.
And you see the same kinds of challenges in social development too. Just take literacy, for example. Now, male literacy is actually above the national average, which is great, but female literacy, it's lagging way behind at only 59%. Gaps like these really highlight the kind of deep-seated issues the state is still trying to solve.
So the big question is, why? Why does this paradox even exist? Well, many sources point to a long history of tough challenges. Even with all that political power, the state has really struggled with things like poor governance, organized crime, and corruption. And those issues have, historically, held it back and kept it from really reaching its full potential.
But look, if we only focus on the politics and the problems, we would completely miss the soul of Uttar Pradesh. Because when you look beyond the headlines, what you find is one of the most culturally rich and vibrant places on the entire planet.
I mean, come on, it's home to 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including, just one of the most famous buildings in the world, the Taj Mahal. It's also the birthplace of the classical dance Kathak and these incredible folk traditions like Ram Leela. This is a place where art and history aren't just in museums, they're alive, right there in the landscape.
And we have to talk about the food. The culinary traditions here are just legendary. You have the delicate royal Awadhi cuisine from Lucknow's courts, the rich Mughlai dishes passed down from the emperors. Even the food itself tells the story of the state's incredible, layered history.
Okay, so let's pull all these threads together. What have we got? We've got a state with immense scale, a super deep history, political power that's off the charts, but also profound challenges, all mixed with this incredibly vibrant culture. So what on earth does all of that mean for the future?
And this is really the final, most crucial point of all. Because of its sheer size, what happens in UP doesn't just stay in UP. Not at all. Its successes have the power to lift up the entire country, and its failures, well, they can hold the whole nation back. The future of India is completely, inextricably tied to the future of this one single, massive state. Which really just leaves us with this one giant question. As India powers through the 21st century, the path it takes is going to be shaped, in a huge way, by the direction its heartland goes. The story of Uttar Pradesh is so far from over. In fact, you have to wonder, are its most important chapters still yet to be written?